Hello and welcome to Candid Conversation. Today our guest on the program is the Chief Minister of Haryana, Mr. M.L. Khattar, joining us from Chandigarh. So thank you so much for joining us on our show. So my first question to you, did you ever think that you will become the Chief Minister of Haryana?
No, not at all. In earlier days, I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was working for my party as an Organization General Secretary of Haryana. Previously, I did this work for 14 years. And after 14 years, this year, I was told by the party that you should contest the election.
Right.
And Karnal was the constituency from where I was offered. I contested the election, won by thumping majority, and later on I was told that you will become the Chief Minister of Haryana. Suddenly I got my duty and start performing.
So what are the major challenges you are facing as a CM?
So many challenges are there because in our state we did that development of the state, but that was not that was development जैसा कहना चाहिए कि in some districts there was some works. Not all the districts were equally developed. भेदभाव की नीति से ये सब काम किया गया, ऐसा मैं कह सकता हूँ.
Like we see in Gurgaon is very developed.
Around Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad, some GT road portion, Rohtak. लेकिन throughout the state it was not equally done.
So that is one challenge you are facing. Development is one focus. What are your other priorities in your state?
In our state, agriculture, our state is agricultural one. But farmers are in a pitiable situation. उनको भी अपनी ज़मीन का जिस प्रकार से लाभप्रद मूल्य मिलना चाहिए, फसलों की जितनी कीमत मिलनी चाहिए, they are not getting it.
Right.
और हम ये ऐसा मान के चलते हैं कि भी ट्रेडिशनल जो हमारी क्रॉप्स हैं, they are not fetching well.
Right.
और हमने विचार किया कि we are going to rotational crop, like fruits and flowers, vegetables and medicinal plants. उसी में से हमको लगता है कि भी किसान जो है वो अपने एक प्रॉपर वे में with some good conditions, technical system, irrigation system, उसमें से वो किसान को एक अच्छी
So agriculture, are you going to focus on that?
And dairy farming also, because our state is a milk producing state.
So what is the nature of your relationship with Prime Minister Narendra Modi? As we know that since 1996 till 2001, you both worked together.
We have
so what kind of your relation you have? And any
have,
memories you can share with us?
We have good relations, we had good relations from 1996 onwards. We worked together for 5 years. When he was zonal in charge of these 4 or 5 states, and I was in charge of organization in Haryana.
Right.
And those were the 5 years we worked together.
Any memories you can share with us? And what kind of a worker as a RSS Pracharak he was?
He always inspired us. He always made for us the way how to work for the party. Organizational setup, he always encouraged us. Whenever we felt any difficulty in doing that, he always was before me just to make me learn.
And how is his role now? Because he is a Prime Minister, you are a Chief Minister of Haryana. Some people say that that controls are there from Delhi on your government.
What kind of control? No control at all. I am working as Chief Minister on my own. My team is my Council of Ministers. We are working together. Whenever any difficulty we find, we can always ask from any person who has experience. Any of our Chief Ministers, our Prime Minister, our leaders, our President, All India President, anytime we can ask. But he is not guiding us, or he is not,
there is no interference from Delhi. Could you meet the Prime Minister after taking the charge of CM?
Yes. In 2-3 times I have met him.
Any specific guidance that you have got in recent times after holding the post?
No, just I explained all the work I have done in 2.5 months. Just 3-4 days back, when we were together in one of programs, we were having talks with him I had.
Sir, Haryana had always been associated with Khap Panchayat problems. Sir, what is your stand on it? In fact, it was reported that you have defended Khap Panchayat. Is it true?
Khap Panchayats are a sort of big groups resolving so many things. They are guiding their society in a different way. Some kind of social evils they are concerned about. They always suggest how to remove them. If any unlawful activity is done by the Khaps, we are always opposing it.
So how do you plan to handle that? Because how will you discriminate good Khap Panchayat if you're saying there are a certain section of Khap Panchayat which are good, but certain section are doing wrongful decisions?
Khap Panchayats are not good and bad.
Okay.
Their acts can be differentiated.
Okay.
All Khaps are good ones. There is no bad Khap or good Khap.
Okay.
Any act which is not lawful, that can be said to be bad.
Right.
And any act which is accepted by the society, it is good one.
So certain murders which they ordered in the past, on that
never,
you certainly...
Never any
you disagree with it.
Any order given by Khap, no murder, nothing like that.
Okay.
They have opposed Sagotra marriage, marriage in the same Gotra.
Right.
They opposed it, and it is accepted by the society of Haryana and nearby states.
So you feel no checks and balances are required on Khap Panchayat, you say. So coming on to the Robert Vadra land deal, so you have set up an SIT team.
We are actually gathering some informations, and in near future we'll give our course of action. No haste in that. No haste,
but what could be the amount of the scam? Any idea?
We are gathering some information.
So in this Gujarat Chamber and Commerce of Industry, you have spoken about that Gujarat is the best state as far as the development is concerned, and you want to take Haryana to that level, in fact more than that. So what is your roadmap to achieve that?
More developed than Gujarat, it is, I have not said like this. Our states are in competition with each other.
Right.
So we will make our state developed to such an extent that we can reach to any goal. We can compete with other states. We would also like to become first our states.
Right.
What is wrong in that?
So, power supply is a major problem for you people, and 24 hours power supply, you have said that it is difficult. What is the reason behind it?
We have sufficient power. So it is not the case that we are lacking the power, but some different problems are there. So we are planning to give them the power in near future, 24 hours. Some more projects are being established in Haryana.
Right.
So it's not the problem for us to supply that.
So you feel that this will happen, power supply won't be a problem, and in this tenure you will be able to supply power. So Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, this campaign of yours, tell us something on that, because it has already kickstart in your state, although Prime Minister is going to come on 22nd January and he is going to do it.
Has consented to visit in Haryana for this purpose. And first starting of campaign of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, he is starting from Haryana.
Right.
So in our state we will encourage this program, and we will go to the people so that this project can be fulfilled in the state. Equal ratio of ladies and men and women, that should be achieved.
You think that it is possible in the state, and how soon you expect the success? You will get the success.
Time limit cannot be ascertained, but we can achieve it.
फेना से चकाचौंध सफेदी हुई आसान, अब चमकेगा हिंदुस्तान। फेना ही लेना।
अब 1 किलो फेना पाउडर सिर्फ 49 में, साथ में 5 रुपए की फेना टिकिया मुफ्त।
देखो 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 देखो, यहाँ औषधि खूब पकती है, मीठी मीठी सी लगती है। देखो अरे 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 देखो, इनके दिल का रास्ता पेट से होके निकलता है। अरे जाती है। 2 चम्मच के इस खेल से दूरियां मिटाई जाती है। यहाँ औषधि खूब पकती है, मीठी मीठी सी लगती है। देखो
भारत में रोज 10 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा बच्चे हाथ साफ करके साथ मिड डे मील खाते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, बढ़ते हैं।
देखो
चल संतुलन बना रख, जब्बा जीतेगा। चल।
जिंदगी हो या कुश्ती का अखाड़ा, जीतने का गुरु मंत्र है संतुलन।
इसी मंत्र का मैं अपने खान पान में पालन करता हूँ। वही खाता हूँ जिससे मेरी सेहत को नुकसान न पहुँचे, जिसमें भरपूर पोषक तत्व हो। खाओ वही जो जीत दिलाए, वरना चारों खाने चीज होते देर नहीं लगेगी, समझे।
On Baba Rampal, you actually set up an inquiry on it. What is the inquiry? What does the inquiry say? Was there any kind of mismanagement by the police on Baba Rampal?
What kind of inquiry? I have not any inquiry we are going to help, but the court order was that we have to produce him before the court. We did it well.
So you feel so that there wasn't any kind of mismanagement as far as the police is concerned, because many journalists were also beaten up.
No, that was not the case. But in such a big operation, some chota mota koi vishay hota, तो it's not a matter of concern.
So introducing of Gita in the schools, Congress alleges that you are saffronizing the entire education system in the state. Your comment?
शिक्षा संस्कार कहीं से भी किसी भी ग्रंथ से लिए जा सकते हैं। सो गीता इज नॉट द एक्सेप्शन। गीता से भी मिल सकते हैं, रामायण से भी मिल सकते हैं, शास्त्रों से मिल सकते हैं, कुरान से भी मिल सकते हैं, बाइबल से भी मिल सकते हैं। किसी भी ग्रंथ से अच्छे संस्कार, अच्छी शिक्षा मिल सकती है। वी कैन अडॉप्ट इट, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Sir, my last question to you. Congress is planning to launch a protest on the Land Acquisition Act, the amendment that happened. What do you have to say on it? Because they feel that it will be a problem for the farmers if this act is implemented.
As an opposition party, they can do anything. We are not going to stop them. But this Acquisition Land Act, it is not against the farmers. It is friendly to the farmers. It is friendly to development. It is friendly to all. There is no problem in it.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you. Coming up after the break is Candid Conversation with the chairperson of National Commission for Women, Ms. Lalitha Kumaramangalam.
फेना से चकाचौंध सफेदी हुई आसान, अब चमकेगा हिंदुस्तान। फेना ही लेना।
अब 1 किलो फेना पाउडर सिर्फ 49 में, साथ में 5 रुपए की फेना टिकिया मुफ्त।
अरे सुन तो।
मुझे क्या सुनाना चाहते हो? जो सुनाओ मेरी सौतन को।
किसको?
अरे वही तुम्हारा मोबाइल फोन जिससे सुबह शाम दिन रात चिपके रहते थे और कहते थे किसान कॉल सेंटर से बातें हो रही हैं।
अच्छा ये बात है।
हाँ क्यों, क्या हुआ? अब बात नहीं होती क्या?
अब तो झट से बात हो जाती है।
ऐसा क्या?
हाँ, अब तो ज्यादा लाइनें और खास तकनीक के कारण खेती के माहिरों से तुरंत बात हो जाती है। और अगर कभी लाइन व्यस्त हो तो अपनी समस्या फोन पर रिकॉर्ड करा दो, वहाँ से फोन आ जाता है और समस्या की हल का मैसेज भी आ जाता है। ये देखो आ गया।
अरे वाह, इसका मतलब इंतजार की घड़ी अब खत्म।
हाँ,
तभी मैं सोचूं कि आजकल मुझ पर इतना प्यार क्यों आ रहा है।
कृषि संबंधी समस्याओं का अपनी भाषा में तुरंत हल पाने के लिए पूरे भारत में किसी भी फोन से हेल्पलाइन नंबर पर संपर्क करें। किसानों का दोस्त किसान कॉल सेंटर।
अरे बस बस जीजी, सारी सब्जी यहीं डाल दी, अब तुम क्या खाओगी?
वो चटनी बचा है ना, हम उसके साथ खा लेंगे।
भाई वाह, क्या त्याग की देवी है, हैं? एक डॉक्टर को जानते हैं हम, वो कम बुद्धि वाले बच्चों को इलाज करता है। अभी चलना तो जान पहचान करा देंगे।
हम काहे मिले उनसे?
क्योंकि तुम खाना ठीक से खाओगी नहीं, तो जो पेट में जीवन पल रहा है उसको भोजन मिलेगा नहीं, और फिर होगा कुपोषण, मतलब शरीर और दिमाग से कमजोर। खाना खाएंगी कि ले चले डॉक्टर के पास?
जी हाँ, गर्भ के दौरान ध्यान रखें कि गर्भवती माँ को समय से सही और पौष्टिक आहार मिले। उसे अधिक मात्रा में भोजन कराएं, सामान्य से लगभग 1/4 ज्यादा।
और वो 4 बातें याद है ना? 1. गर्भवती को खाना अच्छा। 2. पहला गाढ़ा दूध है सच्चा। 3. 6 महीने सिर्फ स्तनपान। और 4. फिर स्तनपान और पोषण का ध्यान। तो 4 बातों से नाता जोड़ो, कहो कुपोषण भारत छोड़ो।
Welcome. Joining us now is the chairperson of National Commission for Women, Miss Lalitha Kumaramangalam. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. My first question to you: what would be the role of NCW in Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign?
NCW in this campaign can at best play a facilitating role. The campaign is being run basically by the Women and Child Ministry department, and that is our mother department, so to speak. So there is a certain amount of coordination, etc., that needs to be done for this. There is a lot of work that NCW can do in following the policy of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and for example in doing monitoring. We are allowed to do monitoring wherever women are, in remand homes, in many places, including schools. So since we have contacts with a lot of state commissions, sometimes it's easier for us to see whether a school is actually following the norms, whether the government has laid down, whether the states are taking the policy on board in the way it's meant to be.
Supervisory role. You mean to say you're going to supervise
up to an extent, not really supervise, but facilitate supervision perhaps.
In this particular campaign, what are the key points that the government should remember while proceeding with it?
See, basically we need to remember that there has to be a huge amount of awareness. We need brand ambassadors who can carry the message that girls are meant to live, not to be killed off in the womb. Beti Bachao basically is that, and we need to start focusing on nutrition. These are things that have to be, everything in the states is done through the ANMs and the Anganwadi workers. They are overburdened. We need to have training, awareness, and we need to talk to the panchayat leaders and the district collectors. These are the people who basically do everything and supervise everything at the grassroots level.
Ma'am, we've seen that every government that comes in, they had launched new schemes for women, but at the ground level we have seen that it is not, the results are not satisfying.
Yeah, that's basically because I agree with you. There are many policies in India, even with regard to laws. There are many good laws in India. Some laws are far better than laws in other parts of the world. But the fact is that implementation is where we suffer. I think one of the biggest lacunae is the lack of coordination between centres and states, which Mr. Modi is now really pushing, and 2, the lack of coordination between different ministries or departments within the states itself.
So it means that just launching the program will not be sufficient. You have to take care of its implementation.
Yes, yes. It's just been 7 months. 7 months is nothing almost,
yeah.
Therefore, we're working hard and change is in the way, and I think this time the coordination will be better. We've realized that that's where the lacunae is, and we are determined to fill it.
Now, what is the reason in Haryana specifically we have seen that female feticide cases are increasing every year?
The NCW has now actually made a large number of recommendations on the PNDT Act, Prenatal Diagnostic Act, and it's also, like I said, implementation is where it's a problem. These clinics just spring up like mushrooms. Ghas jaise ug jate hain, as they say,
aren't there any checks on it?
The checks have to be done by the criminal justice system, and that is where, when inspectors, health inspectors go, etc. There seems to be a lot of corruption in that sector. And 2, doctors themselves within the medical system itself, the checks and balances I think are inadequate. Also, the dowry system I think is very largely responsible for this huge bias against girls, and that's not just Haryana and Punjab, it's all over the country.
Ma'am, dowry is the main reason why female feticide is happening, while girl child is not wanted.
Yes,
is
it
that
is
the sole reason, or there are other reasons also? Because you talk to so many people
I think
every
that is one of the main reasons. But I think with regard to dowry, again, you can't only talk to the families, you must talk to young men and young boys, because boys keep quiet when dowry is asked for by saying ghar walon ne manga hai. And we need to do an enormous amount of education with men. We need to involve men more in the struggle for, or in the way that women's empowerment is taken forward.
How is it possible? How can you make it possible?
Men are changing. We need to inculcate in them a sense of shame and a sense of responsibility. And I think, ancient Indian culture, this has nothing to do with religion. This is our country as a culture respected women, and that today there is a definite lack of respect towards women, even within families. We don't respect our own mothers, sisters, grandmothers, aunts, women within the family. Women who are widowed are treated differently, women who are unmarried are treated differently. The fact that a woman is also a human being like any other person, man, woman, should make a difference, that has now to be pushed. It has become misused. And the old Indian traditions of equality in a family, men and women had their own place, but they were more or less equal. Some men were better than women, some men were better than women. So it was, there was a more democratic way of thinking within families itself, and it starts within a family. And I think in the last few years, not few, probably 30-40 years of the women's so-called women's movement, it's been too aggressively anti-men. We need to understand that if women's empowerment has to be sustainable, men have to be on board.
So you mean to say society is changing?
Yes, society is changing. I think education helps also. Educated young men are more willing to listen to things on women's empowerment than young men who have not been educated.
Absolutely.
And mothers need to teach those sons to respect women themselves.
Ma'am, we have spoken about domestic violence and dowry, but the other aspect is rape. Which is increasing, especially in schools. We have seen in last 1 year so many rape cases were reported in the schools.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it is also too much overexposure to sex and sexuality. You have mobile phones. A child of my granddaughter of 1 year, 10 months knows how to put music on the phone. Possibly I may not know, but she does. So the younger generation is very used to
tech-savvy.
Tech-savvy, exactly. And technology has its ups and downs. Most phones don't have a child lock on it. They can access anything. Pornography is just available on the web. It's disgusting, really. I mean, maybe I sound old-fashioned. But, and we are not able to teach our children fast enough what is right and what is wrong. So also I think you can't blame only the children. The fact is that schools are not being penalized. Colleges are not being penalized, in the sense that the responsibility is always put on the government. Now, I am not saying the government has always done its job, and I am not talking about any political party. I am talking about the system of government in India. But the fact also is that schools and colleges that run at a profit, like the taxi companies or whoever it is, a business that is run on profit and that is supposed to be a service-oriented thing, should also be penalized, I think, very punitively, especially financially, to prevent them from being careless in their employees.
Ma'am, we are seeing that crime against women is increasing. On the other side, the justice is delayed. Don't you think that there should be some sort of a system which would at least expedite the judiciary
I think
system?
the fast-track courts that have been announced for rape and etc.
Ma'am,
are a very good idea.
those cases which come into media glare, not all cases.
Yes. Reporting is now slowly increasing. So the number of cases that are being reported has increased. Rape has always been taking place. I think it's very difficult to say whether it was more before or less before, things like that. But the fact is that because reporting has become more common, the fear of reporting rape is slowly going down because of a lot of awareness work and a lot of the work that's been done by the media in showing victims not merely as being at fault. And a lot of the outrage that the media shows, for example, when people talk about the clothes women wear and blaming women generally and all that, that has really helped. But I think it's a beginning. We can't expect change to be too fast, especially in India. It's a slow process.
Ma'am, don't you think the NCW should be revamped as well?
NCW is being revamped. I can't go into the details, but in a few months' time, you will see that we will be concentrating much more on policy. This year, we have shortlisted topics where we need to have consultations across the board with stakeholders, with civil society, with government. For example, we are having in this month in February with acid victims, and the victims are actually going to come. They're going to be part of it. We just finished one with challenged women, both physically and a couple of mentally. So by the end of the year, about 16 topics will be covered.
Are you thinking of digitalizing the entire process as well?
Yes. Many of our files seem to have disappeared because we are in a very cramped place.
Yeah, this is one major complaint that we get to hear from women, that we filed a complaint but nothing happened. We don't know whom to approach.
Unfortunately, NCW has been working out of premises that are very, very small and cramped. And there's such a huge number of complaints that sometimes we have something like over 60 to 70,000 complaints a year. And yes, and we try as much as we can to do family counseling, adalat, what we say, family at the parivarik adalat. And every day you will have families coming in, members actually sitting to try and see if we can come to a compromise, solving problems without it going to court. We have a fair deal of success. But unfortunately, because the state commissions are not as empowered as the National Commission is, they're even less empowered, and they are very, very political. So if we had the state commissions being less political and doing more work, I think we could solve a lot more problems.
Ma'am, don't you think you should have more judicious power as well?
Yes, we have asked for it. I think it's under consideration now.
What exactly you have asked for, if you could just tell
they've asked for a far-ranging, it's too long to go into much detail. But what we have asked for basically is that when we issue a summons, we should be, if people don't bother to reply, if we keep reissuing it, it really means nothing. And that when we give recommendations, they should at least be binding. People must actually tell us what is the action they've taken on the recommendations we've given, say on certain bills, etc., including government departments. And also when, for example, when we issue suo motu notices. Generally now I find people are replying, because all the notices I have sent, even to state governments, I've got very detailed replies. And police is also now being more responsive.
Obedient.
Not obedient, but responsive, more cooperative, let me put it.
Ma'am, my last question to you, what NCW is doing on Women Reservation Bill?
We have talked to everybody we can, and I can assure you that the Women's Reservation Bill will come through in this first 5 years of Mr. Modi's rule. We'll try and get it through as fast as possible. There is a resistance to the bill, and again, that's not a political resistance, it's just across the board. Many people have their doubts, etc. But I think now generally Parliament has understood that the Women's Reservation Bill is very, very important. But I would like Doordarshan, through your good offices, I would like to request you all to actually talk to women across the country. You will find they want reservation, because at the panchayat level we have a huge lakhs and lakhs of women leaders who are coming up because there is some sort of reservation there. But at the legislative and parliament level, we need women in positions of decision making, for which initially reservation is very, very necessary.
Right, ma'am. So we really hope that it comes up in the parliament and get passed soon. Thank you so much for talking to us, ma'am.